I spent 2 months building a huge Lego apocalypse city inspired by Fallout, Dying Light 2 and The Last of Us. It was a struggle and I had to put my best Lego thumbs at work, but in the end we finally did it. With the size of roughly 1 by 3 meters big, 12 unique builds, this massive city is done. Today we're going to take a look at all the details and everything we can find in the city. So grab a bucket of popcorn, strap in and enjoy the ride. This video is sponsored by BetterHelp, but more on that later. So this is my second Lego city that I've built. This one is apocalypse themed. The first one was GTA themed, so I like where this is evolving. This is a really chaotic city. There's a lot going on and there's a lot of inspiration from video games such as Fallout, Dying Light and The Last of Us. We are going to start by taking a look at the Dying Light 2 inspired build that is taking place on a rooftop, which is a farm. It's a farm settlement on top of a rooftop. I think this is a really cool idea, a unique way to build a settlement. These people are farmers, they live off the land, well, what little land is left. To keep themselves safe from the zombies, they decided to build their house and their settlement on top of a roof. A quite big office building with a jewel store and a coffee shop. Just like Bethesda, the game developers, I like to tell stories with skeletons. I think it's a fun little thing that they do, so I wanted to include it in my build as well. A lot of skeletons in different places, weird places, doing various things. I like that I added this donut here. It really shows that this is a coffee shop and it's overgrown. We have a lot of different characters. Here are Ellie and Joel from The Last of Us, getting chased by a clicker and some zombies. I think I did a great job with the characters. Here we have another skeleton in an office. He's just sitting there. Maybe he was worried that the stock market crashed and then the bombs crashed into him. Yeah, bad joke. I have a lot of office interiors here. I like to design offices, I realized, because I've built a lot of office interiors for these builds. Here we have a vault dweller with his dog. He's from a shelter, from a Fallout vault, where he's been living and surviving. These are zombies. I would have gone for ghouls, but zombies were already the theme, so I've chosen to keep sticking with the zombies. In here we have the interior of the jewel store, we have another clicker here, and a zombie trying to purchase some diamonds. The clicker is just Groot with his head turned around. It's very stupid, but I think it works. This video is sponsored by BetterHelp. I know that Lego is a kind of therapy for most people, but sometimes that isn't enough. Ever since I started working full-time as a YouTuber, I've been feeling a bit lonely actually. I spend all day in my Lego studio and build, so sometimes I forget to connect or talk to people. If you're like me, you'd probably be more willing to speak to a therapist if it was as easy to start therapy as it is to buy Lego online. This is what BetterHelp does. All you have to do is go to my link and take their quiz. BetterHelp will analyze your answers and match you with one of their 30,000 plus therapists they think is best suited to help you. And if the match isn't quite right, you can switch at no additional cost. There's a reason 4 million people have turned to BetterHelp for mental health support. Visit betterhelp.com/V.P.L.O Studios to receive a discount on your first month. Thank you BetterHelp for sponsoring this video. Back to the video. Let's take a look at the actual farm settlement on top of the roof. This one is very improvised. There's a lot of houses that's just put together with scrap metal and wood. There's a sheep on the roof here, and there's a seagull. There's a lot of things. This is a messy place, and people just leave their stuff lying around. It's a very cramped settlement, and they live right on the edge of the roof, so they're really living dangerously up here. However, they seem to be enjoying themselves. We have farmers taking care of the animals like sheep and pigs, and they're feeding them, doing everything they can, and doing everything as they would if this was a farm on the ground level, but it's on the roof, which makes it a bit weird. I wonder where he will dump that. I really took inspiration from post-apocalyptic worlds. That's like everything is horrible, but they're making the best out of the situation. I don't know what she's cooking up, but the food, it looks a bit chunky. This lady is adding a carrot to the soup, and I think it will taste much better after she's done that. I'm really happy with this farm. They made some farm plots with carrots and pumpkins, and that orange color really stands out, making this build look a bit better. The scarecrow doesn't seem to help, however, because there are still crows there. This is a farm settlement, so I wanted to give this that western vibe. They have hats and they have ponchos and a bit cowboy western vibe from the people living here. For example, this is the sheriff. He's the boss of this place. This is one of my favorite houses. This is the container house. I love the sunflower outside, and I like that this guy is trying to paint it to cover up all those centuries of rust. But we also have a medieval look to this place, because this is the blacksmith. He's actually making armor for the guards. Up here we have the power generator. This guy is protecting the generator, but there's a seagull on it, so I think it will get fried. He's having a noodle break and just watching out, looking at the people. This is one of the guards guarding the convenience store. And this sign is actually a custom sign that I made myself. He seems happy to guard this place, and I'm very happy with the color combination and the details of the road signs. Everything on this build I'm very happy with. Down here we have this woman doing some trading. I think she's a scavenger who's going out to the wasteland looking for supplies, trading with the local folk. She has various different things, like this statue, a Mountain Dew, a mountain brick, and even this robot R2-D2 unit from another planet. I wonder how she got that. I tried to add some cool exterior details to the facades, like these windows where you can have a look out, and some car parts, some metal structures, just to make it apocalypse-y. Up here we have the windmill. My friend Albin, he helped me build this, and it really puts that extra spice into this build. Makes it stand out a bit. And that was our farm settlement. I would have wanted to go into even more detail, but there's a lot of things to cover. If we take a look at what's going on next to the farm settlement, we have a burger joint. I call it a burger joint because it's just a fast drive-by place where you park your car and go in and get your burger. But it has definitely seen better days. These two guys are out here scavenging for parts from this car, or maybe they're even trying to get it to start. And this is the new Ford from the Lego Harry Potter series. I wanted this place to feel a bit more empty because there's a lot of details in the rest of the city, so you need what's called negative space, where there's just room to breathe. This place has been overgrown and taken over by crows and plants and spiders. I made these crows myself. It's a very simple build. You just need a few parts and you can make them sit down or fly. Over here we have a guy that tasted the burger back in the day, but he couldn't handle it. I think he died from it being too gross. Big Belly Burger is something from the DC universe, but I really like that sign, and hey, why not do another crossover? Over here we have our chef chasing a rat. I think it's the Ratatouille chef, and he needs to get back under that hat. Or the chef just is very hungry. I added a lot of rats to this build and a lot of spiders because, well, there probably would be. Let's move over to the office. This is our big, gray, boring office building, inspired by the destroyed buildings in Fallout. It's just a regular office building that's been boarded up and covered with some plants. Over here we also have an Octan sign that I designed myself. Octan is a big corporation that just does everything. In here we have a meeting room, we have a security room, and we have the big office where the boss would sit. This guy is out scavenging for stuff. And these guys are just on the rooftop, hanging out, taking a break from everything. They should probably not light that fire though, because it will attract more zombies or people. Let's go back down to the road and see what else we can find. Some zombies is chasing a man here, and he's running towards the water source, where the raiders have found water. They managed to break the fire hydrant so that the water is actually pouring out, restoring nature on the roads. You can see the green. Well, the raiders are very thirsty, so they need to grab some bottles and fill them up ASAP. If the water runs out, what are they gonna do? There's probably not that much water to find in the waste. We move further down, and here we have an alleyway with a zombie creeping out from it. This alleyway is very sketchy, and this guy died doing graffiti. You should not do graffiti in your local town. The zombie just devoured him, and I added some dark red as blood. I've started to experiment with adding brick-built blood, and I really like how it looks. Usually I would use fake blood from like theater blood. That's actually a paste. These raiders are trying to fight off some zombies while protecting the water. The water is just pouring out, and everyone wants to get to that water. Over here we have another sign that I've designed. I actually added even more stickers to it, and putting stickers on stickers, I know that's not a thing that people like, but it looks like people have been doing graffiti on it, and it looks really cool. Over here we have another pop culture reference. This is Rick Grimes on his horse delivering his duffel bag of weapons, but he's getting overrun by zombies, as seen in the first episode of The Walking Dead, or at least the first season, I don't know. I'm reviewing every separate build separately, so let's take a look at the assembly square that I rebuilt into a slightly more apocalyptic version. This is still basically just assembly square, but I added some boards to the windows, and I destroyed some windows by putting a chair through it. I just destroyed this, but modified it into a place that would look abandoned but also boarded up. Roses, I changed color on the leaves, and I made one be on the floor. I also added this quarantine tape, and a few survivors trying to find some supplies but getting surprised by zombies. As you can see, the facade is basically the same. I added this hang bridge just to get that extra storytelling thing where they've actually been here a lot and they are trying to get over from one side to the other. This guy is out looking for survivors to snipe, because he just wants their sweet loot. And these guys found out that there are zombies around the corner, so they should probably run. Just a few simple survivors. I would guess that these are inexperienced survivors from the farm settlement, trying to scavenge. Some zombies have heard them and they're turning around. The survivors better run. I like this little part of the city. It looks the most like Lego City compatible, so it would fit in a Lego City, but it's modified into an apocalypse version. The other parts that I've built, they are more extreme and would not fit into the modular city Lego City builds. We have some signs that I'd made from, well, stickers, but also I got them from a Lego catalog and cut out just one part that I wanted to be a sign. This guy was trying to do a Banksy on the wall, but he didn't quite survive. And as I said, I really like dark red as blood if you use tiles. Next to Assembly Square we have a very Last of Us inspired house. I actually looked at houses from The Last of Us, the video game. I looked at pictures and took a lot of inspiration from that. So this is Ray's Occult Books, and it's an abandoned bookstore with apartments on the top. This sign that says Once Upon a Brick is from a storybook Lego set, and it was a perfect fit for this bookstore. This place has gone under quarantine by the city. Judging by the condition of this place, I think they were right to do it. This is one of my own stickers, and I think it looks really good to have it as a sign that sticks out from the building. Let's flip it around and have a look at the side of the building. I added some balconies and some broken windows. I worked with a lot of masonry bricks for this build, with both dark green and nougat, and I think that color combination looks great. Inside we have a quite detailed interior actually. I found this cool brawls thing. It's from a Lego catalog, and I cut that piece out and put it behind a window, and that makes it look like it's actually a poster. Here we are with the storytelling of skeletons again. This guy's been working here for quite some time now. I think he's doing overtime by now. There are spiders crawling in, and we have a big hole in the wall as well. And we have some bookshelves. And this is the classic CMF zombie from the collectible series. I really like the looks of this guy. This newspaper is also from a CMF, but a different one, a different zombie, and this is a custom one. Let's take a look at the other floors. Second floor is just a simple one-bedroom apartment with a large bed, a flat-screen TV from the Queer Eye set, and some other details from the Queer Eye set actually. They've got a lot of good interiors in that set. The floor looks a bit moldy, but other than that, there seems to be nothing more to take a look at. So let's move up a floor, where we find this guy. He's camping here over the night, and he's lit a fire inside, which I would advise against, but he needs to grill his fish, so I understand. And there seems to be some holes in the wall, so we can probably get that smoke out. I made this simple sleeping bag, and I think it looks cool. It really works. This guy is definitely a guy who travels a lot. This ain't his first rodeo, if you get what I mean. I like to tile my roofs actually. It makes them look a bit more realistic, and it gives me the opportunity to actually add some moss and some mold and some details. I also added a ventilation system, and that's it. I'm happy with Ray's Occult Books. This bookstore would work as a modular building. It's time to move on to the bustling city of, well, I haven't figured out a name yet, but this is the big city where everybody lives, everybody who is someone lives here. The farm settlement was represented by yellow flags, and the big city is represented by red flags. Well, not in that way, but actually, yeah, there are a lot of red flags in this city. This city was very inspired by Diamond City and Megaton from Fallout 4 and Fallout 3. If you've played those games, you know what I'm talking about, but if you haven't, I'll explain. I wanted to have that look and feel of this is a highly improvised town. They really built something out of whatever they could find. Houses stacked on each other, people living out of containers and buses. This city is full of life and creativity, and I had so much fun building it. There's a lot of story elements here as well. This guy, he just got something dumped on him by this guy. I hope it wasn't his toilet water. Yikes. Here we have a big strong man taking his flu shot because it's necessary. This is the only doctor in town, but she has some help. Her Miss Nanny robot, which is a robot that helps out with medical needs. Looks like JB is looking for some help. This mechanic is happy to bring back the lights into this house. And these guys, they're enjoying a late breakfast. Here we have a lady who serves tea, and this is her tea shop. I built a comically large red mug to indicate that this is indeed where she sells her tea. Here's a telephone booth with a toilet. You need to be creative in the apocalypse. And you can even answer some calls while doing what you need to do. Here's one of my favorite houses, a really small and thin build, but with a great looking roof and a big door. It ended up looking really nice. Next to it we have Mr. Sanders' Magic Potions. I think he's selling snake oil and fooling people, but it would be interesting to try one of his potions. Here's another scam artist, the Cup in the Ball guy. Looks like he's been beaten up for scamming people. I had a lot of fun with all of these houses and the color schemes and the color combinations and just how to make them look improvised. This town doesn't have that much security, but that's because they have the best sniper in town. This guy is keeping an eye out for everyone and everything that could disturb the peace. In the apocalypse, everyone needs to do what's necessary to survive. If that means to be a newspaper boy delivering the latest news on the boogeyman of the Commonwealth, or spreading the good words of Talos on the town square, it doesn't matter, you do you. However, people might not prefer the latter. These people are getting really annoyed of this preacher standing on the town square screaming about some god named Talos. They don't understand. When all they want to do is to do their jobs and maybe deliver a Nuka-Cola or two to the local people. This woman is just trying to clean the streets. This guy looks pretty annoyed. At the main square, people can rest up, grab a bite to eat, and stock up for their next adventure or supply run. Here we find a seafood restaurant that serves local irradiated fish, lobster, and a questionable chef. I think he's drinking on the job. I added this little cool bar counter with bar taps, and I think it looks very nice. And a gun store full of deadly options. All the fish is caught locally in the local irradiated river by very talented fishermen who's doing the best they can with what they've got, which isn't very much because, hey, the apocalypse, remember? These are some of my favorite houses because the color of sand blue and that yellow, I just love it. I added a red container on the roof of this sardine store just to get that extra color scheme in. Over here we have an old sea captain who lives his dream with his pet turtle living in a submarine on land. Lucy from Vault 33 is talking to a very shady man about doing some business and helping out. I don't think she understands that she might be signing up for a bad mission. This little boy looks scared. And that's because he sees that this man went into the wrong alley. Here we have some raiders in the big city. I don't know how they got here, but they pretty much control this part of the city. And this guy, well, he looks a bit sweaty. He's just a local businessman who wanted to get some business done. Yikes. In this city we also have a farm, but compared to the farm settlement, this is nothing. They don't really know what they're doing, so they have to trade with the farm settlement. In this city, you can even have the luxury of outdoor showers. And that was it. To summarize, this is a very interesting city that I had a lot of fun with while building. We have a lot of different details, we have a lot of cool building techniques, and it's our main city. I'm happy with it, and I think it works perfect in the big overall city. The hospital. No one wanted to go there. And you know why? This place is probably the worst place you can be at in this apocalypse city. There are super mutants, zombies / ghouls, and the place is just overrun. When the apocalypse began, everyone either tried to evacuate or needed to go to the hospital. So one would think that there were a lot of zombies at the hospital, so why would you go there? Zombies and super mutants? What are you trying to do? Get eaten? Twice? I really filled up this place with zombies that's just pouring out when this guy arrived at the hospital. I wanted this to be a horror scene. Zombies on every floor and super mutants at the roof. These zombies were doing their best before they turned into zombies to save the military. They did their best, but they couldn't manage to save them. Not even themselves. This guy, he even lost his jaw. That's disgusting. Super mutants are green, disgusting creatures that turned into monsters from being experimented on, and they are just cooking up some human soup up there. This guy is next on turn. Looks scary. I do not want to be him. This is a gore bag. This is just bones and blood filled to the brim of this bag. Let's lighten up the mood a bit, but not really, because now we're gonna take a look at what's next to the hospital, and that's the Raider camp. Based on a red rocket in a junkyard, these raiders are cannibals and not very nice people. I built an improvised junk fence around this place, and I think it looks great. It really looks like something from Fallout. Raiders in the Fallout universe love to put heads on spikes, so I did that too. And I added some road signs to the fence and some chains. I think we nailed that look actually. I added a motorcycle as well on the side. I didn't want it to be that morbid, so I only put the happy faces on the spikes. Otherwise it would look pretty nasty. Ross the boss. Ross is the boss of this place. And this is the guy with the power armor and the cowboy hat. And he has 3 dogs. This is a guy you don't want to mess with. And here we have his friends, the Raiders. The Raiders of Red Rocket. Red Rocket is a gas station from the Fallout universe. And I really like the look of it, so I had to include it in this build. The Raiders have taken over a Red Rocket gas station, and they've made it their new home. The red on the Red Rocket really stands out, making this build extra cool. The Red Rocket I designed very easily. It's just a few snot pieces and some arch pieces, and you can probably find a nice design online. These people are sitting down having dinner, eating some sausage, some blood sausage, and yeah, they're eating people. And this man is next on turn. Just like the super mutants, these guys sure love eating people. These guys do not look like professional chefs, but they seem to know what they're doing with people. I really like this this sticker from, I think it's Batman or something like that, where it says ice cream instead of ice cream. When it comes to building raiders, I like to include a huge variety of different looking raiders. Usually mohawks and different color hairs, that's the way to go, but that girl, she got a wig. This guy is keeping a journal and drawing something in his adventure book. It's cute. This guy looks dangerous, but maybe it's the inside that counts. Maybe he's soft and cuddly. Steampunk Abraham Lincoln is chasing a rat with his improvised crowbar axe. That's a sentence I never thought I would say. On top of the Red Rocket, I placed a cage with a man in it. And yeah, that's just the way the raiders work. This guy's been sitting here for quite some time and I feel bad for it. Here we have a Mad Max inspired segment. This guy with an electric guitar just jamming some tunes on top of a car mountain. I would love to make an even bigger raider settlement and expand this a bit, because this is a bit cramped. You can't tell that it says Red Rocket behind the Junkyard sign. It's a bit messy, but it looks good. Next up we have the Overpass. That is the road going parallel to the city, with a road from the city going underneath. It's very common in the Fallout games that you find yourself walking on one of these. You usually find a few abandoned cars and maybe a few skeletons hanging around. This overpass or bridge, whatever you want to call it, has seen better days. It's a bit broken down. Here we have some of my own posters. I cut these out from the Lego catalog. Here we have a few custom signs that works perfect for this city, since there is a hospital and it even points the right direction. Behind the signs we have a very beautiful moving truck, and this is a Lego set. I think it's a gift with purchase, or at least it's some kind of special set. This is our lone wanderer from Vault 111, the main vault in the video game Fallout 4. He has been through some stuff together with his dog, Dogmeat. It's a weird name for a dog, but it works. I got this really cool custom vault suit where you can actually choose which number you want on the back. So I got a bunch of those for my vault, for my Fallout shelter, and for some of the figures in this build. As I've said, I like to add some spiders, some rats and some skeletons to the build, just to get that nasty, creepy vibe that the apocalypse took place a long time ago. This world has been changed a lot. Underneath the bridge or overpass we have a few Brotherhood of Steel soldiers running for their lives, because they managed to wake the sleeping Yao Guai, which is a mutated bear. This is Paladin Dan's and his friend, and they are scared to their life. This is my own custom designed power armor, inspired by some other power armors online. Next to the whole Brotherhood of Steel situation and the Yaoguai, we have a beautiful nice settlement with people just living there, having a few dogs. This one dog has only one eye. They take care of all the dogs, give them dog food and just take them in. They seem like nice people, but you living under a bridge, your living condition, well, they aren't the best. This guy is getting some supplies with a shopping cart that I designed myself. I have 2 of these. I believe this is version 3 of these shopping carts. I like to add clothing lines to make the builds more immersive and make it feel like they actually live there. Let's turn this thing around and take a look at what's going on here. We have a fire here. This fire build is actually inspired from Lego Fortnite. Here I have painted and customized Wildstyle's Apocalypse headpiece to make it a bit more apocalyptic. This city really ended up huge, with a lot of detail and fun stories. Maybe I went a bit overboard with the size, and there's definitely things that I want to change for the future. Maybe even change the layout so that you can see the city better and lighten them up in a better display way. However, that's a problem for the future. I have a lot of projects in store, so subscribe if you haven't, and so you don't miss my next big project, and I'll see you around. Thanks for watching.